I found a hidden room in my grandmother's house, and what was inside terrified me. It wasn't a ghost or a monster that scared me, but the realization of how much of our lives we spend hiding our true selves behind a mask of perfection. You see, my grandmother was the pillar of the community. She was the woman who baked the pies, organized the charity drives, and always had a gentle smile for every neighbor. She was the definition of grace. But when she passed away, I was tasked with clearing out her old Victorian estate, a house that felt more like a museum of a perfect life than a home. I spent days sorting through porcelain figurines and lace doilies, feeling this strange, heavy sense of emptiness. The house was beautiful, but it was quiet. Too quiet. It was on the fourth day of cleaning that I noticed something off about the library. The floorboards in the corner, behind the heavy mahogany bookshelf, didn't sound right. They sounded hollow. I remember the exact moment I realized there was a gap between the wall and the floor. I pushed the bookshelf, expecting it to be stuck by years of dust, but it swung inward with a terrifying, smooth ease. It wasn't a closet. It was a room. A small, windowless, cramped room tucked into the very bones of the house. As I stepped inside, the air hit me. It was stale, cold, and smelled of old paper and something sharp, like metallic ink. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I thought I might find old letters or perhaps some forgotten family heirlooms. Instead, I found a shrine to a life I didn't recognize. The walls were covered in journals. Hundreds of them. Not the sweet, anecdotal diaries of a grandmother, but raw, visceral, and incredibly dark accounts of a woman struggling with a depth of grief and anger that she never allowed herself to show. There were sketches, too. Not the delicate floral patterns she used to paint, but jagged, chaotic charcoal drawings of shadows and distorted faces. It was a psychological map of a woman who was fighting a war inside her mind every single day, all while serving tea and smiling at the neighbors. I sat on that dusty floor for hours, reading. I saw the fury she felt when her husband left her, the crushing weight of loneliness she felt during the decades she spent being the perfect widow, and the sheer, terrifying effort it took to maintain the facade of the woman the world wanted her to be. I realized that the person I loved, the person I thought I knew, was only the surface. The real woman lived in this dark, hidden room. And that is the most terrifying thing of all. We spend our entire lives building these curated versions of ourselves. We curate our social media feeds, we curate our conversations, we curate our very personalities to ensure we are accepted, loved, and respected. We build these beautiful, polished houses of cards and we call it a life. But what happens to the parts of us that don't fit the aesthetic? What happens to the rage, the sadness, the ugly parts that don't make for good conversation at a garden party? We shove them into hidden rooms. We lock them behind heavy bookshelves and pretend they don't exist. We think that by hiding our darkness, we are protecting ourselves, but all we are doing is creating a prison. We are living a split existence, where the person the world sees is a ghost, and the real person is starving in the dark. This experience changed everything for me. It made me look at my own life, my own perfect facade, and I realized how much energy I was wasting trying to be palatable. I was so busy making sure my edges were rounded and my colors were bright that I had forgotten how to be whole. And wholeness is messy. Wholeness is often dark. Wholeness requires you to walk into that hidden room and turn on the lights. You cannot achieve true growth if you are terrified of your own shadows. You cannot find true connection if you are only presenting a curated highlight reel of your existence. Real strength isn't found in the absence of struggle, it's found in the courage to acknowledge it. It's found in the willingness to say, this is who I am, including the parts that scare me. We spend so much time trying to be good that we forget to be real. But being real is the only way to be free. The moment I stopped trying to be the perfect version of myself was the moment I actually started living. I stopped worrying about whether my life looked beautiful from the outside and started focusing on whether it felt honest on the inside. I stopped hiding my failures and started using them as fuel. I stopped pretending I was okay when I was drowning. And the most amazing thing happened. When I started being real, the people who truly mattered actually drew closer. You don't attract people to your perfection, you attract them to your authenticity. Perfection is a wall, authenticity is a bridge. When you show your cracks, you give others permission to show theirs. That is where true community, true love, and true strength reside. So, I want you to ask yourself today, what are you hiding in your secret room? What part of your soul have you locked away because you're afraid it isn't pretty enough for the world to see? Are you maintaining a facade that is slowly suffocating your true self? It is time to move that bookshelf. It is time to open the door. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love, success, or happiness. In fact, you might find that you are only worthy of those things once you stop trying to be perfect. The shadows aren't something to fear, they are part of your landscape. Embrace the darkness, embrace the mess, and embrace the truth. That is where your power lies. That is where your life begins. If this story resonated with you and made you think about the masks you might be wearing, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Comment below. And if you found value in this journey toward authenticity,